At Steak and Shake, we're a restaurant. You sit. I serve.
Steak and Shake.
Do you know the difference between a restaurant and a workaround? A workaround is a place where you work your way through the line, work to see the menu, work to carry your tray and fill your drink, work to balance your tray and drink when you get your condiments, work to find a place to sit, and then work to clean your own table. Thank you so much. At Steak and Shake, we're a restaurant. You sit while I do the work.
Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
Good afternoon. I'm investigating a trend in the food industry that started approximately 10 years ago with automation replacing human interaction in the restaurant industry. I'm now speaking with John Wilson, who was recently a customer at a restaurant while traveling in the southern United States. John, have you dealt with this recently?
Yeah, to correct Pete there, I was almost a customer of Steak and Shake. I had enjoyed Steak and Shake when I lived in Ohio. There was a restaurant near us, near Akron, and the service was excellent, the food was excellent, and the waitresses were prompt, responsive, nice, and they could actually recommend things to you, and they were sometimes the banter between the family and the waitress was part of the fun experience we had at Steak and Shake. Coming back from Georgia, I was coming back from Albany, Georgia, and I plotted a course to come across the most Steak and Shakes I could before getting home. That way, someone wanted to go to Steak and Shake because we hadn't been there in years, and you remember it being a great place to eat. So we get past the ones in Atlanta, and it's way too early. So by the time we get to be right before I-64 on I-75 in Kentucky, we see a Steak and Shake, and the last one on the list, or actually the last one before Huntington in Charleston, West Virginia, which, by the way, is gone. It disappeared. It might have been out of business. So we go into the one on Man o' War. It's the name of the road and the mall's at in this area of Kentucky. I go in, and all I see are kiosks, electronic kiosks, and nobody's in the restaurant. No one at all. I don't see the uniform for any waitresses or anything. I don't even see any customers. I think we had one person go to the drive-thru when we pulled up and when we left, so I'm beginning to wonder if there was actually anyone in here. So I look around, and the sign says, "Please place your order and seat yourself." And there's nobody there, and I was looking for anybody, so I called out. And these two ladies, I assume they were ladies, come out from the back by the kitchen, and they're wearing a Democrat flag on their face. And one, that gave me an odd feeling that they're still wearing masks in March, 2 years after COVID's already over with. So we call that a Democrat flag. We're, patriots do anyway. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, Pete. So I asked them, I said, "Aren't there any waitresses? Isn't there anybody to seat us at a table and take our order?" And in some kind of language, and I think what she was saying was, you have to go to the kiosks and sit down. I said, "So there's no humans here?" And she's like, I don't know what she was saying. I don't know if she was speaking Arabic or Portuguese or whatever. She wasn't even speaking Spanish. I could at least understand Spanish. I just got frustrated with the whole thing, and me and my third son, I said, "Okay, let's go." And so we just left, and I didn't get to enjoy the Steak and Shake experience that I had not much longer than probably 10 years ago, 8 years ago, but it totally changed, and I'm hoping that that's not going on in the rest of the country, that it's like maybe a experiment or something, because it really left me feeling downhearted. That is this where our country's going? And it's horrible. Steak and Shake used to advertise that they were an actual restaurant and not a workaround. Places like Burger King, McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, well, maybe not Kentucky Fried Chicken, but Wendy's, they all have I know they probably have kiosks now, but they also have people that are behind the register. But those places you don't really need to interact because it's a fast food place and the menu's pretty well determined and there's really no variation. Whereas in Steak and Shake's kind of like an artistic type of food where you've got different trays and entrees put together. It's attractive and it tastes good, and with no human interaction, it seems cold and lifeless there, and it seems more like a McDonald's or Burger King, which I don't go to at all anymore. So it was very disappointing. And that's my story, Pete.
Well, just to follow up, this couldn't have caught you completely off guard. As I mentioned, this trend in the industry at least 10 years ago with McDonald's and the fight for a higher minimum wage. So McDonald's started putting kiosks in, as you mentioned, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, but even Applebee's has that self-service little computer on the tables where there's still some interaction with a waitress, I believe.
Yes, but Applebee's still has that interaction. If you don't want to use the kiosk, Applebee's is happy to take your order and to help you out. Applebee's is extremely friendly and very helpful, and that's one of the reasons why I still go to Applebee's from time to time if the occasion presents itself.
So just to be clear, Steak and Shake, you would order at the kiosk, the automated method of ordering food, go sit down, and there would be no human interaction whatsoever?
Well, I imagine if I would have stayed there, the humans would have brought the food out.
The humans would have showed up. Well, that's good to hear anyway.
Unless they've got a motorized cart that brings it out and sets it on your table.
Well, hopefully we're not at the stage of the Jetsons at this point, but that's discouraging to hear that you had that experience at a Steak and Shake, because I've eaten there too, and they do seem to be an enjoyable place to eat food, and your son has more memories of the last time you went, so that's discouraging. So when you left, did you happen to talk to anyone before you left about it?
No, they didn't speak English. They didn't understand what I was saying, so I couldn't speak with anyone. I'm not trying to be a racist or anything, but it would help when you're interacting with someone if you could use more than sign language and pointing. It would be nice if you could actually speak with a person and they would understand what you're saying and you talk back to them. Human interaction is very underrated in our society now. It should be a priority to socialize with other people. Otherwise, we become a society of people that just look at their phones and are emotionally dejected from other people, which is dangerous. It creates a psychotic behavior, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a sad commentary. Well, wrapping up, would you visit another Steak and Shake?
No, not if it's just got kiosks. I'm hoping this hasn't happened around the country, but if I see a Steak and Shake one more time where there's kiosks and no humans, I'm not staying. I'm leaving. I'm going to the Applebee's across the street.
Well, that's sad to hear, because on that note, you're probably like many Americans who get discouraged and disappointed by experiences like this, and that's not going to be good for the restaurant industry, the employees who work there who depend on that livelihood, and just for Americans who want to contribute into the economies of the local governments and communities, going to restaurants with their families. The human interaction is a good thing, so you make a lot of good points.
Anyway, thanks for letting me tell my story, Pete. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.